Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast where we try to figure it all out with your hosts, Brandon and Colin. On this week's show, it weathered really hard. Ahoy.
Ahoy!
How's it going?
Well, okay, I think, mostly.
Okay. Hey. Did you survive your week?
Yeah, barely. I've been, like, super sick. So...
Oh no!
Yeah. Apparently, me, the math teacher, half of the 6th grade have been ill.
Oh no!
Like, some sort of, like, respiratory duress, right? Like, I've had, like, super... Like, last weekend, I had, like, mega sinus congestion, right? Like, real bad. And then, like, pretty much all the rest of the week, it's just been, like, coughing, like, all the time. And it's annoying. And I don't like it. And it needs to stop now. Thank you very much. So,
thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, that is, like last Sunday, I felt awful. I was just like, ibuprofen and napping. That is the solution here. That's just what we're going to do.
Oh, that is bad. Oh.
Yeah. So my coughing is better. Right. Also, the other reason the other day, I was like, no, Friday could be fine because I was still like,
yeah.
Okay. Might have just made it worse. So, yeah, that was but yeah, it was a lot. It's like the short weeks, 4-day weeks they seem like so long. We don't know why. I mean, I guess because we also do we also had the parent teacher conferences yesterday. Right. And so that does tend to make things feel like they're lasting longer. But it was
never ending.
Yeah, and yesterday was insane, right? Like, it was just all kinds of craziness, right? Because we had, like, right at the end of the day, right, is weathering like crazy outside.
It was all sorts of weather yesterday.
And so I'm sitting in my room being like, all right, guys, look, this is what's happening. It's fine. And then I got kids like freaking out, and they're like, oh my god, is it gonna be a tornado? I was like, look at this rate. No, sit down, stop. What's happening right now? It's like panicking, blah blah blah. And like, I guess it was so bad, like the confusion went from bad to worse, because I guess one of the other local schools was just like convinced that the weather was just going to be the worst thing ever, because they canceled the volleyball game that was supposed to be after school. And so all of a sudden at like 2:45, I'm like, I get this email that's like, volleyball games are canceled. And we're going,
that's not helping.
Like 6,000 girls, like every 6th grade girl is playing volleyball. So,
oh no.
Now what? Like,
no.
So with 30 minutes left before the end of school, we now have no idea how a giant number of people are going home today.
Oh.
So I was just like, all right, look, here's the plan. All volleyball girls in my room now, go to your locker and call someone and tell them what has happened.
Oh,
and then if your friends don't have their phone, lend them your phone. Right? We're gonna make this work.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody else sit here or go out there. So I'm watching like live weather stuff. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be really bad for like just a bit, and then it'll be fine, right? But it was like exactly at the end of the day, and so they decided to hold the buses, right? Which is a great plan, because this legitimately is a good idea, because the one place where you don't want to be during potential gusts of 70-mile-an-hour wind is in a bus.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right? Like,
yes.
If you blow a tiny bit of wind on the bus, they kind of veer chaotically. So, a lot of wind on the bus. Very bad time. right? So we held the buses for like, I don't even know, like not even 10 minutes maybe, but just enough for like the really bad front part of the storm just like blast through. And it was fine. And then they left. But because our school has a problem, right? I think I may have discussed this on here before. We have this like just epidemic of parents who pick their kids up from school, right? And it's a huge number of people. And these parents start getting to school, even though it's illegal, even though the principals run them off. Parents will still come to school and they just park outside right on the road or like randomly at like 2:30.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
And
not
like
good. Not
school
good.
does not get out at 2:30. Surprise.
Does it get out anywhere close to 2:30? Maybe.
No,
maybe
no.
like 10 minutes plus or minus? No? Oh, no. Okay.
The school day for the majority of the school gets out at 2 or 3:15, right? And then like they start letting some of the elementary dismiss at like 3:00, right? Because normally what they do is they dismiss the elementary around 3. They get all the elementary kids on the bus because that takes like forever.
Sure.
Right. And then by the time 3:15 happens, the bells ding, and then 5th through 12th grade gets dismissed. And so all the small children should already be ensconced upon the bus and waiting, right? But because the elementary gets dismissed at 3:00, parents think they can start showing up at 3:00 to get their children. And so they're just everywhere. And so they were like, the school was basically like, listen, if people are car riders, just let them go now. Like they just like early, just like, or it was like 2:45, and they're just like, okay, well, car riders can just go. And so we're like, well, okay, dang it, like what the? So it was just a lot of like insane chaos for like 20 minutes.
Oh,
and then parent teacher conferences were after that. But of course,
great way to ease into that, you know.
Yeah. And then just to add to the zaniness, right? They were gonna give us food. They're gonna get the teachers food, right? Because conferences don't get over till 7. But did anybody like decide to leave early to go get the food from the place so that we could have it? No, they did not. They waited. They waited until after all this stuff happened. And they were just like, so we got the food like way late. And then probably because of the no basketball thing, or the volleyball thing, I mean, and then like the weirdness it was the end of the day, like nobody came to our parent teacher conferences. So like we're just sitting around for hours, right? Just hanging out. Some eventually came, right? But which kind of stinks, but I don't care. But a lot of people did go over to the other activity that was happening at the school, right? So that was good, I guess, because there was a lot of people when I got over there. But the library, aka Susan, hosted the first annual Multicultural Festival at our school.
Oh,
and it was dope. They had like a bunch of kids had set up booths like in the auditorium building thing, right? And so like just like with like, you know, you try full display boards, and they were out there talking to people and everything. And a whole bunch of alumni were like helping to sponsor the event, right? Which was really cool. She put together this big slideshow like featuring all of the alumni, right? Narrated by yours truly.
Oh, right. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's all coming together.
Skills to work here. These dulcet microphone skills. Right?
Yeah.
Susan was like, because I had that other microphone set up at my desk at work, and she was like, "If I give you a script, can you record a bunch of audio clips for me?" I was like, "Absolutely, that's no problem. Let's go."
I literally thought you'd never ask, so thank you.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this. No, I'm just kidding. And so I did that. I did that, and then they had the slideshow running in the thing with all the just featuring a bunch of the alumni from the school and like of various ethnic backgrounds that have attended over the years, and a lot of them came and sponsored the stuff. And then at 7 they had like a event in the auditorium thing, right? They had like we did a when I say we, Susan had them do.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Been noted.
I was just the narrator. Okay. I was. It was not really very helpful. They had like all the different. She just basically put out an all call to the students and was like, "Any student interested in being represented, please contact me and we'll piece together what we got here." So we had like some traditional Hmong fashion, right? Boom, which is really cool. So we had a bunch of students, and then they brought some people from like their church and stuff to like fill out the rest of it. But they had like a Hmong fashion show thing, right? And then they had one of the Chin girls sing a song, and then a Chin fashion show thing, right? And then there was a like some sort of traditional. I've never seen this before. It was like this group of the Mexican kids from their church. They have like a Lady of Guadalupe like dance team thing, and they came and did that, which was super cool. There was a presentation about like quinceañeras and like a whole bunch of people like they like modeled their quince dresses, right? And so that was fun. And then I think there was some more chin bamboo dancing action. There we go. And yeah, that was it. It was pretty sweet. Oh, Susan, from the next room, the dance is Aztec based. So there we go. That's why it was like an Aztec dance from southern Mexico. So there we go. But it was really cool. And then they had like a photo booth thing set up, right? And one of our alumni, who is like dabbling in photography, they hired him to come in and like take a bunch of pictures of everybody and stuff. And they're going to put them on the library page so people can download them and stuff. And so the original plan was to have like kids and stuff could get their pictures taken with like the quince girls because they're all like, princessy and everything. But what actually ended up happening, there's a really sweet picture of it's like all of the like Hmong girls in all their traditional dresses, like huddling up and like taking pictures with all of the girls in their big giant quince dresses. It's really dope, right? It's really
oh, that's super cool.
And like there's all these like really cool mixed pictures of just like all the people that were wearing like traditional clothing, like we're just like all taking pictures together and stuff. And it was really cool.
Yeah.
So it was really neat.
And so just to stress this again, these are cultures represented at your school. Right? Of students that are attending. Okay.
Yes.
What I love about that is, on a normal school day, kind of like, everybody kind of blends in of the same, but to see just like in a very visual way of the diversity of backgrounds and of cultures there at a school that to a typical bystander, right, you probably wouldn't even know is there.
Yeah, because like in a traditional high school day, everyone is wearing like sweatpants and t-shirts. Yeah. Right. So like the amount of like visual diversity, not exactly high. Right. But when you start throwing in like traditional pieces of clothes and stuff, and then the other part that was like really cool was like no matter who was like presenting on stage, like you could visually see all of the other groups of people like cheering for them and like applauding them and stuff, which is really cool, right? Because they weren't like, oh, it's those people, whatever. We're not going to clap for them. There was none of that, right? It was very much like they were all celebrating each other, right? And then there was a whole bunch of other people in the community and teachers and other kids from school were there also. So that was really cool. It was just really, it was a very visually interesting thing to watch, right? Because again, you just have all these like different traditional dress, like all like huddling up and taking pictures together and all that stuff. And it was really cool. It was kind of environment to be in. So it was really neat.
And so that was going on at the same time as the parent teacher conferences, or were they kind of offset?
It was after, right?
Oh.
So the way that it was structured was from parent teacher conferences were from 4 to 7, right? So during that time, like the booth part was opened, right? Where just like different people were with their little trifold boards and everything, like just all around, And there was some other stuff set up, like a couple local alumna. They set up like a booth to like paint nails and like do little hair for like kids and stuff like that. And so, because they just opened like a beauty shop or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they were kind of there doing their thing and all that stuff. And then at 7, because parent teacher conferences ended at 7. So a little bit after 7, like 7:10 or whatever, the program part started. Like in the auditorium with all the like fashion showy and the dancing stuff. Started at 7 o'clock. So it was like right after conferences got over.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And so
it was really cool.
And this was this the first one done at the school?
Yes. Yes.
How was it received?
Really good, I think. Really positively.
Hey.
All of the kids seemed to like really enjoy it. And they were all like, okay, so next year we're going to do this. And Susan was going, what do you mean? Hold on. I need to go to bed first because I'm very tired. Right.
Yeah.
They're all like, oh, but next time. But she's like, I need to rest.
Well, I need to sleep. But that's really neat to see them excited about their culture, heritage, and background, and excited to share it with others. Because that's one of those that's how when that's not there, that's where the disconnect from your heritage breaks, right? Where it's like you don't have that connection to the past, you don't have the connection to the present, even, right? And to have people who are being proponents of that for themselves and for their culture, like that's really cool to see them.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the closing speaker talked about. She had an alumni come who was like one, I guess she said she was one of the first like not white students that we ever had, like way back, right?
Oh wow.
And so she came and she kind of said that same thing. Like it was a big struggle. I was, kind of embarrassed about this, but like then I realized this is, my heritage, something to be proud of. And then that helped propel me to where I am today. And she owns like some kind of big like translation company, and she does all kind of crazy stuff. Like what? So, but she was kind of talking about that too. And she was like super excited about the whole thing. She said Susan's been talking to her, like they've been talking for like weeks, like just because she was really into it.
Yeah.
Which is cool, right? Like, but there was like the Aztec dancey thing. Like I did not know that they did that, right? And so one of the girls in the dance thing, who I know pretty good, I was like, "What? How come you always just keep surprising me with yourself? Like I didn't even know. Like I knew you were awesome, and then you pulled this out. Like where did this come from?"
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and well, in that, for you to see your own students kind of in that way of them, it's almost like when students see you like at a grocery store, they're like, wait, what are you? You're not supposed to. You live at the school, right? So for you to see them there, right? Like that's really cool, and really, I think that's really special too.
yeah, I thought it was cool. That's why I definitely wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any of it because I watched.
Well, yeah.
That part was really neat. So, yeah, it was really fun. Very long day yesterday, but
It sounds like
it was good times.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you got to that went well, and that there's already at least somebody planning next year. It sounds like.
Yeah, maybe. I think 2 of the kids are already on it. So he's just like, wait.
Right. Would you guys get started? I'll catch up. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, let's just get time out here. Hold on.
Well, I was gonna send you this photo of our storm that shows a little bit of how our storm went yesterday. Let me see if that comes through. It might not. Anyway, you said you were talking about the storm coming through, and you were like, "No, look at this radar. It's not going to be that big of a deal." It just got me thinking about I took a screenshot of a radar, but no. Well, that's I'll send that to you. Let me know that comes through. But
okay.
Sorry, it was like I have to send this before I forget
that's fine.
Because that's what I do.
No, because I was doing the same thing. I was watching this live stream guy yesterday, and he kind of does like a he kind of just hangs out, and he like has this like big fancy weather radar thing pulled up, and he just sort of talks about all the different areas and things that are going on, right? And so when he was talking about ours, I was like, yeah, it doesn't really. Yeah, we need to calm down, guys. It'll be fine. There's nothing like it's gonna be real windy here in a minute. But other than that, like, yeah, there's a little bit of hail. And I know they were worried about hail yesterday because some areas got like big hail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are actually at we came into Dad's yesterday, and because I've been doing this is spring break week, and so here in town, and so I've been covering a lot of extra visits to help with so that staff don't have to do all of those. So we came in, and Megan and the kids were at the house, and I was in town, and I was actually on a break just at a coffee shop, and the storm front moved in, and it was really windy, and it's kind of, I couldn't see the parking lot because there was so much rain, but there was no hail. And then it moved on. So I called Megan. I was like, "Hey, Megan, how's it going?" "Yeah, it's good. We're outside. It's not really windy right now." But they were all sitting on the front porch, as you do when the storm's approaching. It wasn't raining, not a whole lot of wind. And then and she goes, "But the sky's looking kind of green." And I was like, "Oh." And then in the background, I heard,
"Oh no, yeah."
And I went, "So go to the basement." And if you did that picture come through yet? It might.
No, it didn't. But
okay.
I know what you're talking about because I saw those weather radar things too, and so I texted Dad and was like, "Hey, just so you know, there's some pretty yucky weather kind of headed right to you from these places."
Yeah.
And he texted me back and said, "I'm actually standing outside your classroom right now." I was like, "Oh, well." Never mind that.
Yeah, we crossed paths with him.
Yeah, he came down to see parts of the thingy that we were talking.
So he avoided the fun because I'm in town, and Megan's like, "I'm going to go to the basement." I was like, "Okay, take the flashlights," and they head down. And apparently, it just sounded like a wild place outside. Like it was really rocking and rolling, and sirens were going. They lost power. It was a wild event. They had like penny to like nickel size hail everywhere, and the screenshot that I took of the weather, it's like, "Oh, look, that's right where the hook is on the storm, and look where it's headed." And apparently, like,
oh no,
there was a funnel cloud just like popping up and down all along Highway 60.
and
they're
fun.
pretty sure there was one touchdown like just a mile away from the house. Because of some of the damage and trees down and things like that, and some other reports that they had. So it was like, oh man, that's fun. Glad everybody's okay. But then they didn't have any power, and it was dinner time, and so Megan called me and she was like, "How do I light the stove?" And I was like, very carefully.
I was like, yeah.
You'll need to get a get a lighter and do this stuff. But they Noah's exact quote was, "It feels like we're in the 1800s."
Wow, come on now, guy, what the heck?
And he was ready for it. He was so excited. He thought it was so cool how everything was going. So I was like, okay, here's a little pepper buddy here, right here.
Oh boy.
No, that was a little when I saw that hook and the sirens and everything, and was looking at some of the reports. I was like, okay,
oh dear,
let me know when you're okay. So they were.
How much not fun is that?
Yeah, they were holed up in your closet. Actually, is where they were for a little bit.
That's not a very fun place to be in there. Kind of tiny and weird. So.
Yeah, yes, but also it's very centrally located.
Oh yeah, no, but
probably safe.
Glad they're all right. Glad only the power was the only thing that got problemed. So that's good.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, we've been busy with visits and stuff. It's been kind of wild.
Yeah, sounds like it. No, almost had to cook on the fireplace. He would have really liked that. I mean, it would have
been how we do. Thankfully, it wasn't out for long, but it was a little like, oh yeah, let's do some problem solving. Oh, and then also one of those things of like, okay, power's out. Remember, everybody, you get one flush. Okay, one flush in each toilet. So make sure make it count.
Make it count.
Make
right?
it count,
oh boy.
Yeah. So that was fun. In some ways,
it's definitely adventurous.
Yes, it was.
Right.
It was. We've been doing
definitely
lots of adventures. Oh, I did to the after all my visits this morning, we and Megan was running around with the kids doing some errands in town. We met up at the nature center in town. Right. Great place. And I was going to say, it's seen so many changes, but like it really hasn't. Like,
I mean, I don't.
Like little things. Like there's a whole wall about the history of the
changes
of the deer population. Right? Do you remember the thing of centuries of change or whatever it says, and talks about deer populations in Missouri? Okay.
Yeah, because at one point in Missouri there was like no deer.
Yeah.
There were like no turkey.
Yes.
And then they invented the conservation department, and now.
Or deer and
way
turkey.
too many deer.
Well, and so this is what was funny. This from there sprouts my anecdote. On that, I don't know if you remember, they have that deer population over time chart where you like push all the little click buttons to make the little lights appear to show you how much the population is, and it's like 1800s deer population, and you click that, and it shows a little bar graph, and then you click 1930s. And you click that, and that's to show pre-conservation levels of like what happened. And then there's a 1950s, 1970s, 1990, and there's nothing else after that. Okay? And I turned to Megan and I said, can you believe this? 20-year-old data. And she stares at me, and I went, right. It's almost 25-year-old data. And she stares at me. And I stare back and I go, oh, rats. I dropped a decade. I'm really sorry. 35-year-old data.
It's fine. We all know that 20 years ago was the 1970s. So everything is fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no.
It's obviously true.
I did it. I saw 1990 and I was like, oh, that's 20 years ago. No, no. And then I looked up to see when that thing was built, and it was built the year I was born. And I was like, okay. It was built in 1988.
Dang, man, that's crazy.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have literally been going to that place like my entire life.
That's
like
true.
Like really, that really sets up a lot. And again, like I was thinking while I'm in that building of like 30, 35 years here. And then also in 1998 is when the oh gosh, never mind. Anyway, it's another like another conservation
Seminal
kind
moment.
of thing was also founded of like, oh right, like that's, man, like, I have not known a world without these two massive entities, one of which I can't remember the name of right now, but that's fine. It's just so ingrained I don't even have to remember the name of it.
It's so important that I cannot remember.
We talked about how busy we've been the past couple of days.
That's true.
But no, it's just very like really one of those foundational things. Yeah, this has just literally always been here. Like this is just the world as it is. Kind of weird.
That is pretty nuts. Like to think about that it's that old. The nature center, not the other place, because I don't know what you're talking about. But it's very
I'm gonna
but that is kind of wild, right? Like it is also slightly problematic that they don't have updated data on deer population numbers. You did all that work at those stations.
I know,
right? At those stinking stations for them not to put it up on the wall.
No,
right? You had to go all to the kill stations.
I know.
All that
age by teeth.
Yeah, and never updating the nature center. Well, you should be like personally offended. I feel like
I should just take a Sharpie and mark off where I reckon they are. That would probably make it all the better.
Just take some Post-it notes and be like, okay, boom, got it. And then just
about yay, about yay.
Yeah, just kind of rough estimate the number and then just like stick it on the wall and just like casually stroll away.
Got him. Got him. Missouri. Okay, I feel really embarrassed about this. The Missouri Stream Teams has been around for 30 years as well. Over 30 years.
The thing that you were on.
Yeah, the thing that I was, as part of public government thing. Anyway, moving on
from that marginal embarrassment. I gotta go to.
Yes. That's enough.
Yes, it'll be fine.
We got to take care of a tortoise this week.
That is always exciting. Is this the same tortoise or is this a new tortoise? Haven't you taken care of a tortoise before?
Indeed, it's been a little while though.
Okay.
Which is fine because they live long. But this one,
that's true. They do live for a very long time.
So I actually had two tortoise related inquiries this week. So there's this one
that is a much larger than I thought. Right? Yeah. Any tortoise inquiry greater than 0 is just got to be like a shock, right? Like
yes, yep.
So non-zero tortoise encounters.
Yeah, it's very interesting when these things come up because usually they're just people are just I don't know it's very they're weird. That's all I'm going to say. Like it's very interesting to see people who have a tortoise and like why do they have a tortoise and what's whatever. So there are
my question is the why, right? Like what makes a person want to have a pet that can live for 200 and 300 years? Like what is the
or even
long-term goal here, right? Like what?
Yeah. 50 years, 60 years. Like I'm just going what? So I don't understand. And it's the same thing with like parrots. Like when people buy a parrot, it's like it's a 90 you just bought a 90-year-old thing. Like it's very
that's kind of nuts.
I don't understand. I don't understand. So there's the first lady who contacted us, she has a dog and a tortoise, and the tortoise lives in a little hutch thing, and it's like a little like Russian tortoise or whatever. I forget. I'll have to look at my notes. And it's again, it's like you can't like, again, this is coming from somebody who has a tarantula as a pet, so like I can't really talk about this, but like
I mean, that's true, but like that lives in a little box and it does its thing, right? And like you have to, tortoise, at least they need a little bit more room. Even though they're not going to move anywhere quickly, they still need.
Yeah. And so, it's kind of neat to see this little guy in his little hutch and, turn on he's got a time. You have to run his little humidifier for like 10 to 15 minutes each time we're over, and make sure his water and the calcium thing applied, and make sure he has his salad mixed well and his pellets that you also spray with water to soften them because he doesn't like them too hard. And his name's Sully, and he's kind of a jerk. And he's fun. He's cute, whatever. So we are actively taking care of him. And then, I had one of the most surreal,
anytime you mention tortoise, I think about that picture that Prince just took with Jonathan, the world's oldest tortoise.
Yeah.
His grandma met a long time.
Isn't that wild? That's
really
wild.
Crazy.
Duke of Edinburgh meets 191-year-old giant tortoise that has outlived seven British monarchs. Like,
one of them is like the longest reigning one ever. So think about
that. Take that. Yeah. And to think that like he's 191 and he met the Queen Mother when he was 115. Like, it's just like these numbers just hurt your brain, right? Like, so that's the other thing I've like, maybe it's just there are very much novelty. They're very interesting. And that's and he's a Seychelles tortoise, right? Yeah,
I think so.
So, excuse me. So, this one, Sully, is like this little guy. He's, maybe 6 inches across, 7 inches across right now. So he's got a lot of growing to do. He's still pretty young. Then I have a phone call from a lady, and it was like a fever dream of what on earth is happening right now. She calls and she wants to know about our pricing. I'm talking about pricing. And how many pets do you have? And she said, well, you've cared for my pets before, but it's been about 4 years. And so my brain is just racing. And I'm like, what? What is this? And she goes, because I've got 3 dogs, 2 cats, and a tortoise. And I'm like, I'd remember a tortoise. Like, I would remember a tortoise. And then she said,
we don't get many of those. So.
No. I'm racking my brain. I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, what on earth? I did find this person's information. So I think this person contacted us and then used somebody else, because then she goes on to say, I said, tell me about the dogs when I'm going down my list, my question. I said, talk to me about your tortoise, your turt. And she goes, well, I mean, he doesn't do a whole lot. He's a sulcata tortoise. He's about 200 pounds, and he just kind of roves around in the backyard.
What?
I went, what? You have a 200-pound tortoise in your backyard. Like,
that is not like, excuse me, like what, that's not like, okay. Wow. Okay. So listeners, not all tortoise are this gigantic, right? It's important to know, like the aforementioned Russian tortoise, kind of a small little guy, right? Not super gigantic. Okay. Like, 5 to 10 inches, for females, 6 to, maybe 11. But that's kind of it, right? Also, apparently, native to Kazakhstan, and that's what I was trying to, Caspian Sea region. But 200-pound tortoise, like what?
Yeah.
How do you stop that thing from doing anything? Like, how do you keep it in the yard? It'll just like lean on the fence and just right.
and it's got time, right? Like it's got time to do this. It's not in a hurry. It just has to slowly push a little more and then a little more. Like, yeah, this just roaming around the backyard. And then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, no, I know we have not cared for this person before because I
would remember that for sure.
200-pound tortoise. Oh my gosh.
Man.
So, and it reminded me of the story I heard of how the Oklahoma Zoo got their tortoises. Did you hear this? Okay, so the zoo gets a phone call.
Sits off some bells here.
Right. The zoo gets a phone call and they go, I think do you have all of your tortoises? And they were like, yes, we have all of them. And they go, well, there's one roving around downtown Oklahoma City. And so they sent the zoo people out there and they go, A, that's not our tortoise, but B, that's a 200-pound Galapagos tortoise just roving around downtown Oklahoma City. So somebody had this like wildly endangered tortoise that was probably just living in the basement and it got too much for them and they just hoisted it up and pushed it out.
Insane.
And now I'm talking to that person on the phone. Like, oh my God. Oh.
Insanity. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. No. So I gave price and whatever and said, well, yeah, I know it doesn't look like we got to use you last time, but if you have anything else, let us know. So that was I don't know if that's a highlight or like something that I'm going to like just like come back to over and over, questioning what had happened, like really what it is. But
I mean, yeah, like I don't even know. I don't even know. Like what? First of all, I just don't know. That's a lot. Like, I don't know why a person would want a tortoise as a pet to begin with. All right, it's kind of weird. Because again, it's giant. It's going to live forever. Like, what do you do with it? Right? Like, I don't know. That's really strange.
Well, and and I don't know about tortoises, but I went and I talked. There's a place in town called Just for Parrots. It's a store that does. I think the name describes what they do, but they're just for parrots.
Fair.
And I talked with them about this actually because they encounter this a lot with the birds. Where the family will be like, yeah, grandma has a macaw. And she's had the macaw for 45 years. And once, grandma passes away, none of us want a macaw. The bird. Right. Nobody wants the macaw. Because I don't know if turtles are like this. I doubt tortoises are, of like birds will become a one-person bird. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And like they really don't like change, and it's very hard on them, and it's for a lot of different reasons. And so this shop, Just for Parrots, actually will take in birds in that instance and like work on rehabbing, rehoming, that kind of stuff for them, because otherwise the people are just going to have to put the bird down, or like a lot of times they just let it go. And I'm like,
yeah, which is not good.
I'm like, what? You'd let a like 50-year-old macaw out into the Ozarks? Like, oh my gosh, like that's just. But these families, like they said, the owner was like, yeah, we came into a bad situation one time where the person was a collector and had like 7.
Oh no.
Yeah. And the family was basically like, look, you either come and get them or I'm cutting the nets today. Because it was like this. Yeah. It was like, well, load up the truck, get a cage. And then it was 7. It was also like, African grays and macaws and whatever. It was just like
whatever other birds, people,
birds, people.
Yes.
And
yeah, I don't know.
And then I don't know how many turtle people are having 7, sulcata tortoises out there, but I don't know.
Well, we know that snake people never just have a snake.
Yes, this is true.
That is a fact, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure there are some that have just a snake, but like
Mm.
all the ones that you read about, they don't have a snake, right? They have like a menagerie of like insane things. Like it's not. They're never any like. That's a weird thing about like reptiles too. Like first of all, you have a reptile, which is kind of a weird thing to just keep around. It's not gonna like befriend you. Okay, I understand the primal urge to have like dog or cat. These things sort of make sense, right? But like reptiles just like eat things up to and including you.
Yes.
So like I don't know that's just it's always a thing that's confused me, right? Especially those people that are like, yeah, they go like real kind of off the deep end and they're like they're never like a normal size snake, right? It's either like just the biggest thing you've ever seen in your life, or they're like, yeah, I got a cobra. You're like, why?
Yeah.
What do you do that?
Mhm.
I don't.
Why for you do that now?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I just got a forest cobra hanging out here. Like that is a terrible idea. Please don't do that. Like what?
Why?
Like it's not a pet, right? You don't have a pet timber rattlesnake. That's not like a
No.
thing. Like
No, that is key here. Is it truly becomes like a collector's piece? Like that's the only mentality of like them and the people who collect typewriters are kind of like on the same page, like getting the most exotic or the most difficult or the most rare, and that's the allure of it. You
but
know,
one of those things won't also kill you, right? Not just a ton of typewriter related deaths outside of like noir crime novels. I don't think there's
Well, you know,
a ton, right? And
never know.
yeah,
But yes,
usually there's some sort of outside force. The typewriter doesn't kill you, right? It's when your wife finds out that you were with your secretary that the typewriter kills you.
Right. The typewriter was not
Right,
under the
that's
typewriter's
how-
own volition. Right. It's not the.
Yeah, it didn't decide to. It was just there.
Yeah, it was just the accessory. Oh man. And I just yeah, no, they don't ever just have one, or the one that they do have is just completely bonkers and unacceptable for anybody to actually own. And so it's yeah, I like I said, like we have toyed with getting into exotics and whether we really want to go down that road or not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No. No. That's a lot of like ethical questions to raise, because then at what point do you like not condone? Like what pets do you not condone then?
Yeah.
Like are you going to be hired by somebody and then be like, actually, I have to call a person about this because that's illegal. Oh no.
Well, you
right?
know,
Like that's a pangolin. Oh crap.
right.
Okay. Like
yeah. Or that's a caiman in a bathtub. Like oh boy. And yes, that raises so many other questions, because from our perspective, like, yeah, there's the first and foremost, there's the ethical, there's the moral decision and responsibility. Then from a business perspective, there's yeah, I could probably take care of that, but if I get bit, my insurance is not covering that, because every business insurance policy is going to have a like, you are taking on animals that your city, state, county, whatever say you can have. And if they find out that particular animal is banned, then you're dropped from your insurance. And a lot of people in the UK just went through this with dogs because they outlawed bully breeds like entirely. And
yeah,
so
I don't know exactly what the UK is doing currently, but in an attempt to do some things, they've just decided that everything is now illegal.
Oh my gosh.
like up to including like all kinds of just weird stuff. It's kind of intense, and I don't. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's it for another time. But I don't.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things going on across the pond. That's all
Yeah.
I'll say. It's all good.
Yeah,
but
no,
I mean,
they're not okay.
No, something happened. Sorry, folks over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that of like, okay, well, that means that if I'm in, like, just an example here, if I'm in the city limits and I'm caring for a donkey, well, a donkey is not allowed inside city limits. So if that donkey kicks me and I go file an insurance claim, I can't. They're going to deny that because they're going to be like, well, you're caring for an illegal animal. And it's like, okay, like, right. Or let's say they may cover me because then get letters, but like, let's say they may cover injuries to me. What they wouldn't cover is any of the vet bills or insurance or like replacement costs or anything like that for that animal, because they would say, you're not supposed to have this. Yeah. So that's all, right? And it's we have to keep that in mind of like, what is this animal? And so we know that we have a lot of people out there who would love to who have, it's a very thriving community of people who we could probably serve, but I don't think I want to dip my toe into that of that. I think we'll stop at pocket pets, hamsters, gerbils, guinea pigs, maybe a rabbit.
These are like normal things, right? I guess. But yeah, there is a weird, like, a spectrum here. I would be terrified, right? That, so somebody says to you, right, come care for my exotic pets, right? And then there's like a back room somewhere that you don't know about. And that's got the other exotic pets. And then, just out of pure bad luck, right? Let's just say, like, you're going into the house monitored by some sort of government entity, right? And then kablam! Busted. In some sort of weird pet ring, right? It's like,
oh yeah,
those weird dudes that like smuggle turtles in their socks or whatever. Like,
totally. Like, these are things where it's like, yeah, I have to, because there's so many like reptile shows and exotic shows that happen at the fairgrounds and all of these things, and it's like, I know it happens, right? I just know that like the world between I probably get a lot of flack for this, but like, honestly, the line between responsible exotic pet owner and like eccentric person who just eccentric exotic pet dude bro that just likes to collect them, like, those are two different worlds, and I don't want to be in
that's
one
fair.
of them. Right. And but they exist in parallel.
There is a Venn diagram overlap here of these things, right? Like,
and I just am like, I think I'm fine. So yeah, I think turtles will probably draw the line at these two. See how these go. I'm just very like, God.
Yeah, no, that is weird. Like, there is some line. I don't exactly know where to draw the line, right? Like, I don't have like a hard and fast like blab, right? Like, oh, here's the cut, right? Like, but I feel like just some things are like a personal level, right? Like, and some things would just be like, yeah, no, obviously not. Why would you have a warthog, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. But right. I'm sure there's somebody that's like, no, that would be dope, bro. Like, no, I don't want. So yeah, it's a weird conundrum, right?
For me, I know what it would be if, like, okay, so we'll go back to the realms of like reptiles, amphibians, or like insects and arachnids. When you walk in and everything's in those like little like plastic tubs and bins, like those people, I'm out, right? Like, if they have like a nice aquarium, a terrarium set up, it's like, okay. But when they start having like multiple sandwich containers with snakes and stuff in them, you go,
No, I mean, yeah, volume does
no,
play a role too,
right?
right?
Yes.
Because like, but I think volume sort of transcends the species line, because like if you have 29 cats, that's
Right.
messed up, right? Like that's not kind of okay, right? If you have like 30 dogs, yeah, that's no, you're come on, that's
yes,
like
no,
something else is up, right? Like that's it's like a
fair
thing.
point.
So
Fair.
but
yeah,
it's just, it seems to happen. Yeah, it's just the vibe is real weird when it's like snakes like that. Like,
and we pick up on this a lot from people who apply to our job. I have yet to have somebody who seems like, and this is as in my conversations with these people or in reading their written answers or stuff, it's like they never they never come across as being a responsible owner. They're always the like, yeah, man, and I had a a pit viper for a pet for a long time. It was pretty awesome, so I know how to handle dangerous snakes. And you're like, I don't know if that's the if that's the mentality of they always say things like along the lines of, oh, they were really cool and it was great to have. And one guy said, I didn't have them, but my friend did, and he let me take care of them, so I'm pretty experienced. I need to talk to your friend about letting a random person take care of a pit viper, like in a basement. Like there's just poor judgment all around in these cases, people.
Yeah, that nothing good is coming out of that, right? Like, that's bad. Like, but like, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't seem. I think that the word pet is not right for that
Right.
situation, though, right? Because if you want to think about, like, first of all, a snake, not domesticatable, right? Which is like in the definition for what a pet is. Domesticated is right there. So
right.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's a weird. I don't know how I feel about this. I have a lot of conflicting thoughts. Again, like a person that has a snake, that's all right. But I feel like again, the animal hoarder person, or because pet involves like a level of devotion that is like two ways, right? Like the pet is like relying on you, and then you are like caring for it and getting something out of that too, right? So if you if you have 30 snakes, I feel like it's not that relationship. Like a snake, yes, it seems doable, right? It's kind of like fish, right? You got a fish tank. Yeah, those are kind of like pets, right? You got some fish, right? If you had like a creepy number of like weird exotic fish in tanks in a basement, not really pets anymore, right? Like it's just
right. It's more of a, again, it's more of a collector's. It's more of a items to be had and put on display. And I don't want to take care of somebody's
like animal
zoo.
hoarding, right?
Yeah,
like, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. Of like the line between like, you've got the responsible, like, I have like whatever certifications and license to have this, and I've gone all the legal ways. Then you have the exotic pets are cool dude bros, and then you have the hoarders. Like it's just like this one continuum all the way down.
That's true, because that's a whole other problem. Like, because that's what and a lot of hoarders don't realize that they're hoarders. This is the big problem.
Oh yeah. It goes downhill real fast. And we are, and those situations come up, and you always hear things like, oh, it's just really busy time right now, or oh, it's complicated right now, or I'm working on that right now. And it's like, yeah, but also you've got 19 cats and they're inside. Like, this is not healthy for anybody, right? And then now we come back to this moral aspect of going, okay, well, it's legal. Well, again, gray areas. Is it legal for us to take care of 19 cats in a home whenever the city has specifications on how many animals can be living in any one residence? Like,
also true,
right? Like, we get into that territory because that's tough. And then, like, the conditions here aren't safe for anybody, and I don't want to be in this home. So we've got to have conversations about that, and those are never fun to have.
No, I bet not. I don't. Ugh. No joy. Well,
so, all that to say, I had to take care of a tortoise this week. His name was Sully, and he was very fun. He did not like being. They have again. This is all this stuff of like it's a tortoise. Okay, I know they're old. They can be somewhat intelligent, but like they had what they wanted us to do is they wanted to scratch his back with a little toothbrush. And let me tell you about all of the useless things I have done in my life. Scratching the back of a tortoise with a toothbrush.
It's
way up there.
See, like head, right? Like leg,
maybe.
Back.
Yeah. You mean the bone?
Yeah.
The hardened bone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like what? Why would you?
So I did that though. I sent a picture of me going.
Oh dear. Do they not know that that's not good?
Look, we start.
Not a good sign if you're owner of a tortoise and you don't know how shells work. That is a bit interesting. Oh well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been just one of those weeks of lots of new stuff and newness. So
yeah. Tortoises and weather. Boom. There we go. That's a good
takeaway. When your tortoise is wet, it's raining.
Yes, true. Does the tortoise have a place to go not in the yard for said storms?
Yeah, it has. It reminds me, the way she described it, it reminds me of what I see in zoos. They're like those
okay, just like a big open, okay,
yeah, where it's like one side is open, but it's big covered, and like 3 of the 4 sides are covered, and like that's where the straw and like feeding is and the station is and stuff, and like so they kind of move in and out. But yeah, I think in the winter, I don't know. I didn't ask because I'm like, it's only mid-March, like it's not the warmest thing in the world. So like, what's the winter plans for the tortoise in Missouri? Like, that's
a good question.
Like, is there like a corral that needs to that you put up? I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see if this ever comes through.
Yeah. See if it like goes into the garage or like.
That's personally my thought, is that this is one of those homes that has a garage door that goes directly into the backyard, so that you could just then corral it in the garage and then keep it there.
True.
Angry, I guess it'd be pretty angry. Garage, but I don't know. I'm not a tortoise.
Especially because garages not notoriously warm places.
No.
No. But what? Hey, whatever. It'd be.
Yeah. Well, any other exciting things you've been working?
I know that's really it. We just sort of muddled through the week, trying not to cough my face off, and then culminated in the big event yesterday. So that was pretty much it. It's been a lot. So I've been trying to. I told you about all this sand, right? I say about this.
Yes, you're 50 pounds
Yeah.
of sand, right? And did you
Yeah.
find a storage place for this?
Well, I'm working on finding a storage place for it. The biggest problem that I have is the 50-pound bag of sand, probably more like 60 pounds because it's just wet because it was outside at the garden center thing, right?
Oh.
And so it was like soaking. And so all this week has been me like trying to figure out how to dry out sand.
Yeah, how to desiccate sand.
Yeah, kind of weird, but like I just have all these like lab trays and like little foil things, and I've just been like putting a layer in it, and my table is like covered in like trays of sand.
So you're just drying out like a pound at a time, or what?
Yeah, well, just however many I can. Yeah, it's quite. I mean, I've got quite a bit done. Like I have like a big thing filled. I got a couple like big Ziploc freezer bags, like close. I didn't fill them all the way up because that would break it if I picked it up probably. But like I have like a couple like coffee can things. Somebody brought me an ice cream container.
Oh my god!
Like,
oh my gosh!
I'm trying to get it kind of.
Have you ever
parceled out? But I didn't realize that it was all this wet. So it's like, crud. That's a problem.
Gosh.
But I have to find I just have this giant, just a whole table covered with like sand in trays and various lids and stuff, just so it's all trying to dry it out. Like,
I'm sorry, I'm imagining your classroom looking like at the end of the movie Aliens, where they just say swing away, and you've just got, because all those cups of water, sitting everywhere.
Signs, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry, signs. Yeah, not aliens. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I did have the other day, because the one day that was like really sunny and warm, I had the windows open and I had them laying in the windowsill and like kind of on the floor, like.
Jeez. Speaking of hoarder situations, like no, these are all important. Don't take my cup of sand.
I'm trying to get it out of here. Like, I don't want to put it in bags and throw it in my cabinet soaking wet. I feel like that is potentially a bad plan, right? I don't want to get like moldy sand.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be the worst. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So trying to get it dried out so I can put some of it away, right? And then I have the rest of it to use for the thing, right? Because I am packing because I do want it to be like slightly wet before we use it. That way it'll be like, it'll pack in, so and then you can use it in the stream table. Because if you just put it in dry, put water in, it's just going to go bleh, like just it'll be a whole mess. So, so there, some of it I'm just keeping and I'm packing it in the little things so that we can have them to use. But some of the rest of it, I just got to get it stored away. It's a slow process, but that's the other dilemma that we're facing currently, is what to do with all of this sand.
And the whole time you're like, oh, but this was the cheaper option. This was the cheaper option. So I got to figure out, right? And that's the problem of like, no, this is what I needed to do. But also, because I went down that path, I have 50 pounds.
Yeah, I have a lot of sand I got to deal with right now. Curse you, economics of scale. So I have.
Oh man,
I need to borrow another heat lamp from the ag shop. And
that's what you need. Just do another one. Or just get out some metal trays and put them on top of some Bunsen burners. Maybe that would be what you could do.
That's true. Well, my hot plate thing is broken. Otherwise, I would, because I have some I have a random large stack of 8x8. Those aluminum disposable pans you can get at the store.
Yeah.
Right. That you sometimes you buy the turkey roasting pan like that. It's like that foily pan thing. I have a big stack of those. For some reason, at some point they were used for some sort of experiment, because one side has just a small triangle cut out in the side.
Huh.
No idea why, but I have a bunch of those. And so I've been using some of those. So if my hot plate was working, I could just like toss it up on there, just kind of like heat it, like turn on like real low, and just like heat it.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
evaporate sand out.
No, go with me. Go with me on this. Okay. You just celebrated a multicultural day. I think your next project for your class, for your side projects, what they need to do is who can make the best cup of Turkish coffee, because you have to do it in the sand. And then
true.
right? So then you get A, coffee, but B, your sand dries.
Drier sand. Yes. What could go wrong? Everything. Because I guarantee
actually,
none of my kids have ever even heard of Turkish coffee before. So that would be hilarious, though.
Exactly.
Like,
they've got to figure out to make the best one. And that's what you do. So look.
Oh, there we go. Let's go by a big
trying to
pot.
get your kids involved too. Yeah.
Just throw it in there. Just throw all the sand in a big giant pot and just put it on the burner and be like, nothing's happening. But man, that would suck too, because it would take forever to get cooled down again.
Talk about what makes a good good. It acts as a good insulator in that it retains it and releases it well. Or not good insulator. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but it was. But it would let the heat go through real fast. But I don't know.
But because of thermal mass and 50 pounds, it's gonna be here a while.
Ugh. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So just got meetings on Monday, so I'm looking forward to that. Not really, but yeah, that's it. That's all. That's all. That's everything else we got going on.
Okay. Well, I can close us out with a haiku here.
Oh, please do.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. Let's see if you can guess. Hurt's brows furrow deep, fighting fire with charm and grit. Hose in hand, heart leaps.
That's the best backdraft he's ever sounded right there.
I figured,
oh Lord, I guess.
Yeah, we should shine a little bit more light on that. So I think that's maybe that'll be my new pet project, is to work on making Backdraft more of a cult classic. I think
there you go.
That's what it needs.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is the most cult of classics because I think only firemen watch that movie. So I think.
Well, I guess if we're gonna go out on a limb and say firemen or cult, then
no, I didn't say that.
Done.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
Only if they have air fryers. That's the only caveat we put there.
Okay, there we go. Well,
and it's not the firemen that are the cult; they're just in one.
Well, that's we'll just add that to the list of things to do some investigative research on. That's
all right, we'll do.
Okay. Well, we'll get on that after a good sleep and after you continue to get better.
All right, I'm gonna try.
Okay. Best of luck on that. Love you.
Thanks. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.